All right. Well, welcome to Raising Up Sons, where we're trying to be better dads so our sons can be better men. My name is Taylor, and LG is actually on he's not on a vacation, but he's on a mission trip. He is in Mexico right now with his church. So here I have somebody, a special guest who is much handsomer than LG. His name is Christian. Christian, say what's up to everybody.
What's up, guys? LG, you are very handsome. I am proud to be called more handsome than you, but no, just honored to be asked to be here and excited to just talk about fatherhood stuff.
Oh, it's gonna be awesome. And so, Christian, real quick, how would you say we know each other? When did we first meet? It was at Peak City.
We met. So I started coming to Peak City in, I think it was end of 2020. But I think we officially got to meet a lot more when I did my internship there. And so that's when we had a lot more interaction, a lot more just interface and time together. And yeah, I think that's just when we got more along, just we got to work together.
That's right. Because I remember I think you were deployed.
Yes.
And I met your wife first.
Yes.
And I was thinking, man, she is really cool.
There's no way. Way cooler than me.
There's no way that Christian's going to be as cool as Mallory. And it turns out I was right. You're not as cool as Mallory. But so we've known Christian for my family, the Warrens. We've known Christian for a few years now, and so just recently this summer, maybe like a month or two ago, we went on a camping trip together. And so what happened was it was me and the boys, and they brought one friend, and then the girls, Mallory and Allison. I think Mallory had to work the next morning, so they left right after dinner.
Yeah.
So, Christian, what did you do with the boys after dinner time?
Oh, yeah. Right when we let go of the ladies and the night got good, it was just the boys. And so the guys were ready to just explore and check out the area. And so we decided to go on a small hunting party. So the boys had a BB gun that we were practicing with all day, shooting cans and getting our aim better. And they wanted to go out and hunt. So I was like, let's go look for something. Let's go see if we can find a little bird or a squirrel. And we could just kind of, hunt it down together. So we went out, we were looking. I mean, we're just walking a bunch. We're tossing rocks. We're being quiet. We're whistling. We're doing all the things to try
following all the nature park line guides and all that.
Oh yeah, well, yeah, totally legal. And no, it was super fun to just go out there with the boys and just see how they worked as a team too, and like how they communicated. Which is super fun. I think that's so fun, like as part of being a boy, of not only doing the imagination part of it. I remember used to playing soldier and all the things, but they got to go out and they're like, let's try to actually do it. And so that was the really fun part. And so it took us a while, I think.
Yeah, but we got one.
We got one. Yes, Eli was able to get him right out the tree. He had great aim, and the bird was small, and it was good. It was really cool.
Yeah, it was awesome. And so Christian is somebody, you've been in the military. Mm-hmm. How long were you in the military for?
Just a few months shy of 8 years. So,
what did you do in the military?
So I was a nurse in the
military. But you definitely know military and outside hunting things more than I do. And the boys were glad to have you.
Yeah, I got to do some fun outdoor stuff, especially being stationed out here in Colorado Springs. So.
Yeah, so it was awesome. And so because Christian's doing, fun things like that with the boys, they're always looking forward to seeing him. And even though Christian right now is not a father, Christian is super intentional just about showing up for the next generation, showing up for other fathers. And so one of the things I've mentioned Christian in a previous episode, where Christian's one of those guys where I just noticed his character, just watched how he interacted with people. And I was like, man, I want my boys to grow up to be like Christian one day. And so I just asked him, I was like, hey, I'm looking for some other guys to be intentional with my boys. Is that something that you would be interested in? And after a while of thinking, he came back and he's like, yep, I'm in. And so
it helps that your boys are really cool.
That's true. And so, but after about, he took Eli out once and he was like, all right, I'm done with this.
I definitely got to spend more time with the boys, but no, just honored to be asked because I don't have kids. I'm not a father, but I know the impact of a father is huge, right? I'm obviously a son, and knowing just my experience with my dad, just seeing the little things of being intentional or areas where I was like, oh, like now I can look back and be like, he was doing his best. I would do it differently now because I learned from his example. So I think it's just cool you got to you're trying to get people into your boys' lives,
Oh yeah,
just to speak life into them.
yeah. Because I know there's a day coming, and it's already starting with Eli a little bit. He's about to be 14 in 2 days, and so there's already
Yeah.
things that he might not. I can sense want to talk directly to me about. So I want to have other guys that are willing to have that conversation too. And so the question I have for you, Christian, is why are you intentional with my boys? But not only that, you're also intentional with other dads. Um, like you're intentional with me, but also other dads in your life that's outside of your immediate family. What is it about you that causes you to do that? Like,
Yeah, I think so. That question just immediately made me think of like my time when I was in the military,
mm,
the opportunity to be able to like coach, teach, and mentor these younger guys coming in. And sometimes they were younger than me, but they were already fathers or they were already becoming fathers. That just it's cultural in the military. You get married young and life goes fast. And so I'd see these young dads or these young guys coming in and they didn't have the life experience that I had just because I had a couple more years on them. But I just really grew fond of teaching them and trying to like let them into like this is what life could look like. And
mm,
like if you make intentional decisions with your wife and obviously not having kids, but I'm like making these intentional decisions with yourself and with your kids, your experience of life could be better, right? A lot of them struggled with just divorce rates as you guys know, divorce rates are high in the military, they are like double. It is just stressful. It is hard, and so I think that's what grew just in me to like want to just work with other guys, right? Whether they were my age, whether they were older, it's just like I'm not the wisest of them all, but I just know life could be better, right? And I, obviously knowing the Lord, I had a little, was able to share that with them, but just saying, hey, life can be so much smoother than consistent arguing and frustration if you just take a breath and lead in this
mm.
different way. And so I think that made me want to be intentional and try to live that out. And so my goal was just how can I just make their life easier, and as much as I could, right? How could I carry that load with them, walk
Yeah,
alongside them?
that's amazing. Just so you've just always been thinking about just helping others, just carrying that load with them, bearing each other's burdens. Um, and so, just like a practical question is when you're hanging out with other guys, like when you're hanging out with my boys, we'll say. So, like Christian, you took Eli out to Dave and Buster's,
Yeah.
and like he won some stuffed animals. He still has them on the bed.
He's really good
They'll still
at games and
like
stuff.
like he'll still joke about things every now and then
Yeah.
about like that you guys said and did. And so give some advice of like, all right, you don't have any kids yet,
Mm.
but you're still confident enough to be intentional with my boys.
Mhm.
And so when you're hanging out with them one on one, what does that look like?
Yeah, honestly, when you asked me, I was a little almost intimidated because I haven't had that experience. And Eli's in middle school, and I used to be a coach for middle school boys, and middle schoolers can be very difficult to read
Mm,
sometimes. Um, so just my thought behind it was, how could I speak less than him? Right?
mm,
How can I give him an opportunity to just gradually open up? And I know when I'm working with guys, and he's a young man, right? And so I know sometimes we get closer by working side to side
oh
than
yeah.
having conversations face to face. And so I was just like, how can we just play and have fun together till he gradually starts letting more information out of just saying nothing dark and deep, just like, how was your day? What did you
Mhm.
think about? What was the best part of it? What was the toughest part of it? So I think just being able to create a space to where he felt comfortable enough to know, like, I'm not out to get any information. I'm just here to be a homie. I
Mhm.
want to work side by side with him. We can play games together, and little by little, he's letting more information out, letting me into like just his personal space and just his thought process behind how his day went. And I just think ultimately those things become fundamental for friendship and to just build a good foundation for him to just ultimately be able to share things with me, right? I've had that with uncles and things like that growing up that sometimes I was scared to share things with my dad because I was like, he's gonna whoop me. And I was able to kind of share it with them and say, hey, I just need a little feedback, or like, what did I do something wrong, or could I do something better? Was this the right thing? So having those kinds of people was so super special. So I would hope to grow that
Yeah.
in my relationship with
Yeah.
Eli or anybody else I got to hang out with.
No, that's good. And so we shared that statistic. I think it's like um, five. You need 5 adults outside of parents to be godly influences, to be positive influences on your kids' lives. And so even if you have to, even if you don't have many friends,
Mhm.
and like you can still be intentional and go out and find somebody like a Christian. Be like, hey, I want you to hang out with my kid.
Yeah, it's
And
good for perspective.
oh yeah, and so when it comes to just being intentional with people, you're intentional with kids for sure, especially my boys. And I asked Eli right before you got here. I was like, "Hey, what do you think about like hanging out with Christian? Like, has he dropped any words of wisdom on you or anything like that?" He said no, but
Yeah.
but he followed it up with, "But Christians is one of those guys who I know he's there for me and he loves me and cares."
Mm.
And so I think that as a dad, I'm just thinking, oh my gosh, like I love Christian because of that. Like he loves Eli for no other reason, than Christian's part of the family. He's my son, and Christian loves him like his own son. And so that to me was just amazing, knowing that he could go to him for that. But then the other thing is, not only are you intentional with sons, but there's also dads. And so, like, I know for me, you've been somebody that has encouraged me. We've, talked about things on our camping trips and whatnot, but also, I know you've been an encouragement to other dads. And so, and it seems like you are someone who seeks that out. You don't wait for that to come to you. So, and I'm just thinking about other dads. I won't mention their names, but I know like there's people at church, people that don't go to church,
Mhm.
and so some of them have kids, some of them don't. How does that play out for you? Because I feel like you've got multiple people that you're just a source of encouragement and just a good resource for them to have.
Yeah, I feel blessed to be in a position to be able to serve in a leadership capacity in church, which is really fun. And in that, I get to lead a team, but I get to lead some of these guys that get to serve and want to serve. And so I think it's so special. I learned so much from them, but I think it's really cool to be intentional and to be special because it's just I have felt such a joy myself of just growing more in my faith and growing more in the Lord, that it's just like, man, I want their lives to be good. And I know that men are so important in the household. Like I remember just even little things my father would do that, kids are just like we say it all the time, kids are a sponge, right? We just take it all in. And we're just learning and we're constantly seeing things from our fathers and we're like, oh, I can do that because Dad did it, right?
Mm.
So how do I be intentional with like how do I help make their lives better? And not just for me, it's because I love them. I get to love them and I get to just hang out with them. And the goal is to just share the joy of the Lord with them, so that that um that kind of pours out into their family. That helps their relationship with their wives and with their kids. It's just something special I'm doing. I just want them to know life can be more joyful. Um, and so I think just sharing that basic concept, right, the joy of the Lord, is something so easy. Um, well, easy to me, and I feel
Mm-hmm.
like I seek it out often, and I can see so many blessings in my life. But how do we help bring that out of other people when all they're
Mm-hmm.
seeing is the negative, the bills, the frustration, the kids are not listening? It's just like, hey man, you might be frustrated that you have kids or your kids are running around, but people are praying out there that they could
Mm-hmm.
have boys and girls that could run around in their yard, and you have that promise and you
Mm-hmm.
have that gift. And so um, how do you now take charge and honor that in the best way? So I think just being able to share that and really just acknowledge like me playing the fun uncle part, right? Of just like loving their kids.
Funkle Christian.
Yeah, loving their kids and just basically, obviously not the parent responsibility, but just having fun with the kids, just encouraging them to say like, this is a blessing. This is
Mm-hmm.
so fun. to be able to have. And so, yeah, I don't know. I think that's how I am able to like see it, or at least that's my perspective. And a lot of the time, again, same. Some of these guys have been military guys that have
Mhm.
met their families and seen how they live, and um, how do I just encourage them so that they can get encourage their families?
Yeah. No, that's good, man. I think when I think of you, the thing that comes to my mind is just like the word disciple maker. And so you are one who you are a disciple. You're following Jesus, what He's called you to do. And not only are you discipling your friends,
Mhm.
but also your friends' kids. The whole family is getting discipled in the process. So, so yeah, man. So amazing work with that. I think the other question I have is, so you are married. We mentioned her earlier. Her name is Mal.
Mhm.
And so, how do you navigate spending time with so many like dads and kids, and things like that, but then
Mhm.
also making that intentional time for Mallory?
Yeah. Um, I think it's hard because sometimes we can get so task oriented, and sometimes our week gets away from us. So, um, me and Mal definitely have to be very coordinated. We have to like sometimes we'll
Mhm.
put it in our calendars and invite each other, kind of thing of just like, hey, we're gonna spend some time together. We're gonna do these things. And so even recently, we've just done some really fun like just walks. We've just gone outside, just opportunities to communicate with each other, and almost be distracted by the walk because sometimes I get distracted just sitting
Mhm.
down. So giving ourselves the opportunity to like have that time together while we do something together, um, just gives us the freedom to just speak and
Yep.
and and just be. And if the conversation goes one way, we allow it to go that way. Um, but I think we really have to be intentional in this stage as school is busy for her,
Mhm.
work is busy for me. Um, I'm never busy. I'm never too busy to spend time with my wife because ultimately, if every other relationship is failing and my me and my wife are good, I'm gonna be okay. But
Amen.
the goal is to how do I manage those well, because that's ultimately gonna be it's just great reps and sets for what I
Mhm.
would want my kids to see if I ever have kids, or my wife to see like I'm still making time to hang out with friends and
Yep.
do all these things, but also for us to have time together. So um, it just takes a lot of work,
Oh yeah, man.
but it's fun. It's
But
good
you're
to be
doing good because
intentional.
I know there's been times when I've asked you to hang out and you're hanging out with Mal. So good work.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, what do you have any questions for me?
Oh gosh, regarding how do you like being an intentional father? I guess so. Questions I would have for you is, so I know communication styles might be different, right? So, like, what are ways that you look, and you might have already shared these things, but how do you look to be intentional with your sons, specifically with the topic of maybe saying maybe forgiveness or maybe
Mm,
misunderstanding? Because I think that's something that I've seen my friends kind of struggle with growing up.
yep.
My family's Hispanic, and I grew up in a Hispanic culture and area, and so sometimes it was like, "Dad is right, you're
Yeah.
wrong," right? And I think there's many times where yes, that is the case, right? But I think there's a lot of times when there's just misunderstanding. Your boys are growing;
Yep.
they're going to start changing and asking difficult questions or doing things that you might not agree with. So how do you be intentional with either saying I'm sorry for the way I reacted in the past, or how do you be intentional with saying like how do you give yourself grace for those kinds of
Yeah.
things?
Well, Christians, that's not even on the topic of friends helping out with your kids.
I just think it's a good way to be intentional because um, I think that helps them navigate their relationship with their friends better
Yeah, for
too,
sure.
like the way that they see it. Because I saw examples in my friends'
Mhm.
parents sometimes that I was just like, oh, that's not how my dad would react.
Yeah.
My dad reacts better, or ooh, I wish my dad reacted
Yeah.
that way. So that's the reason
No, that's a great question.
I ask it. And so
And that is
um,
something that I'm still working on for sure. But I have a story from this past weekend where, so we went back home. I did a wedding for a former student back in Ohio, old Johnny McGuire and Lydia, and so we were flying back to Colorado from Ohio, and we're running a little bit late because as a dad, you want to get to the airport like 4 hours early, and we got there probably like 45 minutes early,
good enough.
and so I'm kind of in a rush, and I'm walking the wrong way. I'm leading us to like the wrong kiosk to check our bags in, with Southwest and all these things. And Eli, Eli's issue is he is too smart and quick for his own good. And so like he would make some smart aleck comments to me because I'd be walking the other way. I'd go to the wrong kiosk or whatever, and he'd just make a little comment, just like a little. It was funny because even my wife laughed, but it ticked me off. And so I just remember
good comebacks.
He's a smart young man, and so
he's quick.
He's quick, very sarcastic. He gets that from his mother. And so I just remember in the airport, I like pulled him to the side and I was like, hey, I gave him some speech about respecting your father, something insane. Like, I don't remember what I said, but it was like, I grabbed him and I reacted too sharply. And then so we walked over to the plane and we immediately got on because we're, almost running late. And then I just remember sitting there because I always get a seat by myself. And so that way Allison and the two boys can sit, three wide, and I can sit by the stranger. But I just remember I was sitting there feeling so guilty. So I just sent him a text. I said, hey man, I'm really sorry for how I reacted in the airport lobby. I was nervous about missing our flight. I gave him, a couple excuses that didn't matter, but then I just followed up with, I'm sorry, and I love you. And so then because I didn't want the whole flight to go, without me saying something, and I wasn't going to get up during the flight. I'm too big for that. So then at the end, he comes off the plane and we hug it out. And and it was a good moment. So just practicing forgiveness so that way he can see it, in his father. And he knows by now I'm not perfect. And I always ask for forgiveness.
That's good. And that's good to see that because I wonder if he has opportunities where he might visit friends' houses and sees different relationships with, whether they're friends of yours or not, like his friends and their parents, and just thinks, he's definitely, he can put two and two together well enough to be like, oh yeah, like this is so different. So that than my house, or this is great. I'm so glad that my friends have this. So,
that's good, man. Cool. Any other questions?
Sure, I could always figure out a question, but I do have a question.
Let's do one more.
You're very intentional with picking your friends. Do you have like a criteria of things you look for in other men, where you're like, okay, these are things I want, not just around me, but around my boys? And so, do you have that just like mentally, so that when you get to know people, you're like, okay, this is somebody I want to stick around, or do you just let it kind of happen, and you're like, okay, this is somebody I like, or are you like seeking out these friends?
Yeah, I think I am personally, it starts with me being friends with these people.
Yeah.
And so I think the first, when it comes to being friend, like I want to hang out with somebody that I enjoy. And so like you can be a Christian or not a Christian. If I don't like you, or like if you're not fun to be around, we're not going to hang out with each other.
Makes sense.
And so it's like, for me, it's, you got to be fun. You gotta, have a great sense of humor, obviously. And then when it comes to the boys, it's like, and for me, you got to be a man of character. And this is also like the people that I let kind of like into my inner circle, and I want to let which means, the boys, I want them to be a part of their lives too. And so just people that I admire, because I think for me, it's like, I don't know how to do everything. I know how to do, a few things. But then if there's people like Christian who can do, amazing things, like teach my boys how to hunt and work on a car and, do all these things.
Not the car. I can work on other stuff.
Work out and things like that. It's like,
yeah.
It's like, man, like I want my boys to surround myself with people like that.
Yeah.
That I can't give them all the experiences they can. So you follow Jesus, be a man of integrity, a man of character. So that's what I'm looking for.
It's cool.
So, but yeah. So I think that about wraps it up for this episode. I think the biggest thing for me is if you don't have a dad that you're doing life with, or that you're talking to, or you don't have a friend that you're like, hey, let's have some conversations about this. Can you hang out with my kid, just to be like that other example to them? My encouragement is go out and be intentional and find that other person. Invite them over for dinner. Have them over for a bonfire, whatever it takes. and then just following Christian's example of who's that one person this week that you can encourage, that you can disciple, whether that's a an adult or one of your friends' kids. So yeah. So anything else, Christian?
I got nothing. I got nothing. I
All
appreciate
right.
it, my man.
Well, thanks for joining us tonight. Like, subscribe, comment, doing all. But keep being big daddies out there.